and a warm welcome to everyone. I'm Ruth Nelson, founder of GoKids Youth Sports ChatBOX, and I'm thrilled to be your host for our monthly In the Know series. Tonight, I'm joined by co-host Christy Arrington. We're thrilled to welcome the Executive Director of the JVA, Junior Volleyball Association, as we approach the end of her first year in her leadership role. Our guest brings a powerful combination of experience, clarity, and passion to the national junior volleyball landscape. With a background spanning collegiate play, coaching, and more than a decade of service within the JVA, this leader has played a key role in elevating education, resources, and opportunities for clubs across the country. The first year of leadership has been shaped by a fresh vision rooted in partnership, growth, and a deep commitment to athletes, coaches, club directors, and families. Today, we look forward to exploring this journey, hearing reflections from year one, and learning more the direction of being shaped for LVCA community. Please welcome us, and sometimes I could say Coach Lisa, Player Lisa, Executive Director Lisa. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we are. And Christy I told you, Christy was so excited. She says, okay, I want to do this show. So before Christy jumps on the questions, let's share your special sizzle. And I know you probably have seen this. And we wanted to be able to expose and all the different people in your administration. And we had Brianna last month and your new Align event. And it basically, a lot of people, I talked to a couple club coaches and I told them about JVA and they said, really, what's JVA? And I said, well, we all think everybody knows about everything, but tonight you're going to learn more about the Junior Volleyball Association.
We haven't done our job yet then. Everybody's got to know.
Hey, we're ready to show that to everybody. And of course, to visit you guys at the AVCA, come to your booth. But Christy, if you're ready to start the conversation, let's jump in because Lisa, I know, has got lots to share with us tonight.
I sure do.
All right, let's go. All right, so you're nearing the end of your first year as JVA Executive Director. How has the first year shaped your understanding of the role, and what have been the biggest insights or lessons so far?
Well, it's definitely been an incredible learning experience. I've really gained a deeper appreciation for balance, but I guess what's balance anymore? But really, right? I mean, for all of us, what's balance anymore? But honestly, like some days I compare it to like being back on an old playground on a seesaw, and you're just kind of going back and forth through, big picture vision to day-to-day operations and, listening and leading. And there's just so many different things that I'm going in and out of each day. And, but there's just been a lot of lessons that I feel like that have come from all of my years at the JVA and just gaining insight from the other staff and our members and just others in the industry. So, I don't know. I've learned this year because sometimes I'm just go, 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 but I just need to slow down and keep listening. Right. And when you slow down and you listen, it's when you're learning.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But it's hard sometimes to slow down.
Yeah. And honestly, the other thing is I was really reminded this year how powerful that mentorship and trust can be. And just the privilege of following Jenny Han in her footsteps and her legacy, right? And living that on. And just it's leadership and learning from her that leadership's not always about having the right answers, but it's also about asking the right questions.
Sure.
So just being able to empower others and letting them empower me and then just working together. So it's been a crazy year to say the least, but really that's kind of how I feel like I am every day is just back and forth, like just going into different areas of the business.
Well, you're basically learning it. You're learning all the, you were very channeled in at very good doing what you were doing. And now you've got to be the big picture person.
Right.
That's the hardest part. All right, Christy.
So looking back on this first year, what accomplishments or moments stand out as especially meaningful in your leadership of the JVA?
Okay, so this one like gets me because the most powerful moment probably is how our staff just fully embraced this change.
Ah,
Right? Like you just never know when you go from being someone's peer to
yeah,
how they're going to be when now I'm in this position, right?
yeah.
So this crew that I get to work with every day is absolutely incredible. And they all just grasp this idea and this concept of me stepping into these shoes and they're running with it. And we're
Uh-huh.
all rowing in the same direction. I mean, it has been an amazing transition. I mean, so that's probably been like my biggest powerful moment
Uh-huh.
personally. But I would say outside of that, I would say our biggest like big JVA moment was our inaugural year of the Align Volleyball
Oh,
Summit,
yeah,
right? 'Cause,
right.
like, yeah, a year ago in 2024, it was October of 2024, Brianna and I were just at this other leadership summit and,
Uh-huh.
listening to this opening music and getting all excited. And we were saying, we need to do this for club directors. Like
Uh-huh.
this needs to be done,
Yeah.
and a few months later, here we are throwing this huge event, 200 club directors come and show up and trust us to put this on. And I mean, it was amazing. So
Let's go
yeah,
ahead and talk about that a little bit more.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about your line and what it is and sorry, Christy, but I was thinking this fits too much into what we really need to let people know about.
hmm
No.
So it's an educational summit, and it is designed specifically for club directors or admins or any type of club leader. And we had a lot of other leaders in the club space also attend, and we'd have a lot of speakers that would just come and educate and all aspects of like operations of a club. And we had somebody come speak on AI, which he's going to come back again this last year and mental health and just different things like all aspects of what you need to do within your club and then some motivational people and things like that. So we had John Speraw open for us this last
All
year
right.
talking about like building relationships, like
Uh-huh.
those are things that don't normally happen. JVA, USA Volleyball, and AAU was there. Having all of these people in one room together, that's important,
Right.
right? Strengthening relationships with other organizations. So
I
um,
think it's much easier for you to gather those people than for USA Volleyball to gather them because you're not, I don't see that you're in competition. You're in enhancing everything that everybody else does, but you have your own niche. I mean, I'm looking from an outsider for like Christy because I talked to her about it that because it's in Dallas, which is it's very unusual, okay? Because in Dallas there are not very many JVA AEU things
mhm.
that go on in the Dallas area. So when I saw it's in May, in the middle of the week, I was just curious how did you pick the middle of the week and
So, we thought about this, and before we did the one in Chicago,
uh-huh,
which by the way, there was more people that flew in to Chicago
uh-huh,
than there were local people, and there was a huge attendance from Texas.
uh-huh.
Texas and California, which was actually mind-blowing for us when we hosted it in Chicago. So that was part of the reason why we also thought about Texas because, we have a lot of members there, and it's not
Yeah.
because of events, right? It's
Events, yeah,
it's because of education.
yeah.
It really is because of the education. So we figured if we're going to tap into more of the clubs, why not bring the education to them? And also middle of the week, it's because it's easier to get to club directors, I feel like. In that time of the year, you're kind of in, I don't want to say slower period,
Yeah.
but we did poll a lot of and survey a lot of our club directors
Uh-huh.
maybe like a year ago or a year and a half ago when we first thought about doing this. And they said that was the best time of the year to do it. So we kind of rolled with it then.
How about, is it all classroom style?
No, no, There is like a main stage and then there's breakout sessions and
Okay.
there's also like a fun happy hour and a dinner that's also
Okay.
interactive. And so
Okay.
there's all sorts of things.
But
Yeah.
nothing on the court.
Nothing on the court.
Okay, so it's in all
This is
classroom.
club management.
Yeah.
Yep. This is very much club management.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's it. So Christy, now May, you had better taking those sick days
I've,
off.
I've already, yep, I've already
May
looked at
12th
the
and
date.
13th.
I was
And
sad
we
it was
have
the
an
middle of the
additional discount
week.
for Texas club directors too. So we'll get that
Well,
over to
I'm
you.
going to be there. I'm going to be
Mhm.
there for sure.
And Christy, I'm speaking.
Yep, Ruth's going to be
Oh,
speaking.
I was like, okay, awesome. I'll see you there,
We
Ruth.
locked Ruth in. Yep.
Oh,
Hey.
I'm not sure what my topic is yet, but anyhow, but I think it was important because we do have a lot of followers in Texas, and especially in the Dallas area. And let me just leave this before I ask you the next question. And that is, when I moved here in 1995, there were 5 clubs. Now there's 175.
Yeah.
There were 3 facilities. Now there are 57 facilities. And you think of that, that's just in the Dallas Fort Worth. When I first was in the region, it used to be all Texas. Then they separated it out. But you're talking predominantly in the Dallas Fort Worth area. You think of that. And a Fort Worth high school team won the state championship, and they've been in volleyball only for 2 years. There are 12 high schools in Frisco. 12.
A lot of athletes. That's a lot of coaches you have to secure.
Not me.
Right. For the clubs. And retaining those coaches.
And
right?
Keeping them happy, right? So that they don't go crazy. All right. So as you reflect on year one, how have your previous experiences as an athlete and coach from Purdue and Samford helped guide your approach to leading the organization?
Yeah, no, I love this question because, as an athlete, you're challenged in different ways and you're kind of taught some grit and humility, but with coaching, you're kind of taught to see people more as individuals and with different motivations and but all of them and then in all aspects and even in this position and the position that I was in previously with JVA, like everything needs preparation and communication and creating that environment where people feel valued and supported. But it's not always rainbows and butterflies, right? And that's okay. But every moment that I feel, it's a teachable moment for you, though. So, but it's if you're willing to sit back and listen and take it on. And so I feel like all of those experiences have really kind of matured me in a way to be able to embrace those lessons and make sure that I'm listening in conversations, whether they're positive or uncomfortable. And to be honest, a lot of the most meaningful growth moments this year have come from situations that have pushed me way or outside of my comfort zone. And I have a pretty large comfort zone. Like it's hard to get me outside of that comfort zone. And this year I've been pushed and I really feel like those have been my growth moments, right? But I don't know, like just a different mindset and thinking of more as opportunities instead of setbacks. So I don't know. I've also had a lot of really great mentors, to be honest, and coaches and friends, and our board members are incredible, and everybody that along the way has reached out, especially this last year and throughout the last couple of years, and a lot of guidance. So yeah, I feel like a lot of those experiences, everything just catches up to you, right? And
yeah. So what do you think? Okay, so you didn't play at an average, D1 school. You played at Purdue. I mean, as a matter of fact, to see the success this year after losing all the number of players, and that takes a special kind of coach.
no,
That takes one to stay and do another year. But then it goes back to the staff. How does the staff help you? So just like what you said, you're being challenged. But if you'd never had been in a program that wasn't challenging and pushing, you wouldn't be able to handle the same type of situations as you did being in a highly competitive D1 school. I mean, those are yes, that and Jenny being around for a few years. I mean, we say a few, but we know how many years, a long time. But, it's always what I always say, the role models that you have that are older, they've experienced so many things. It doesn't matter what they experienced because they will share with you their experiences and you can decide, do I want to experience that or not? You can choose those routes. So what challenges did you encounter during the first year and how have those experiences informed your vision for the future of JVA?
Yeah. So, I mean, stepping in, obviously, I'm not saying that I was ever replacing Jenny because you can't replace a Jenny Han, right?
Right, right.
She's an incredible person, but you're stepping into these shoes and we're in this huge period of growth and we're constantly growing, but I'm also trying to, reassess our processes and our priorities and expectations that also align with my own vision,
Uh-huh.
right? And there's a lot of tough decisions and there's hard conversations and also finding that balance where we have been, and which there's nothing wrong with that, but also being okay with making those changes and being okay to change and push where we need to go.
Yeah,
Um, but the transition into that role sometimes was difficult. As much as I may put a really great face on,
yeah,
I've learned that transparency is important.
yeah,
So, it's okay sometimes when we're on our staff calls, to show that I might be a little pissed off sometimes, right?
sure.
Like if something's not getting done or
Right,
we're not all rowing the boat that day in the same direction,
right.
right? So, um, I would say that, those were some challenges, but I feel like I handle them, with the staff all together. And
Uh-huh,
I think they would say the same thing, that I've become a lot more of a transparent person, and
uh-huh.
I'd rather face those conversations head on, than let them linger.
Yeah, oh
So
yeah, for sure. All right, Christy.
Okay, so based on what you've learned this year, what do you see as the greatest opportunities for growth and innovation in junior volleyball?
yeah, so some of this I would say has not even changed since I started at JVA, because there is always this hunger for more knowledge and resources in learning, right?
Right,
We're constantly trying to challenge ourselves to fill that void and help the directors, and just to like keep elevating the entire club ecosystem, right? But some of the newer things that I feel like as a staff we're always challenged with too, to keep helping with the club world, is like that continued technology and data and AI. I
yeah.
mean, those are some things that I feel like are really kind of growing within the club world. And, we've had some sessions on that have
Uh-huh,
actually been really, really like highly attended.
uh-huh.
But even like strengthening meaningful relationships,
Yeah,
and especially ones that are in it for the good of the sport. And that's really hard to navigate sometimes,
yeah,
right?
right.
Like, especially in youth sports, like you don't know until you're actually having those conversations, right? Like who's all wanting to grow the sport in the right way. So, I would say trying to manage those, those meaningful relationships and strengthen those meaningful relationships. And I think there's really a lot of opportunity there. But yeah, a lot of that. But internally and like with our programs and things like that, I think we're going to keep developing on our grant program and our mentor program and things like that help kind of break the barriers to entry and also help with our club directors, especially the newer club directors that are coming up the ranks too. But things like that.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize all the opportunities. If you want to start a club, you should be a member of JVA. There's no doubt about it. No if and but. When I talked to Christy originally about it, she goes, "What? They got all that?" I said, "Yes, that's all
Mhm.
this." And it's, some people like to read, some people like to sit and watch live, some people like to just view the video. And I think what you've done is you've been able to present all different ways of learning for everyone, and
Mhm.
they can pick and choose which route they want to go.
Mhm.
And I think you've done, and this is, I mean, you were first in. There was, you were challenging. Everybody says, well, they're in competition with. I mean, it's just like someone will say, I'm in competition with somebody. I said, they're not in competition with me. I'm doing certification of, coaches. Everybody's training kids. The question is, how many people are certifying coaches? You know,
Right.
when you really look at, and everybody thinks, like Christy and I, we always think everybody thinks they can teach 10 and under kids. Well, you know what? That's a gift. I'm going to tell you, I don't know why I got the gift, but I got the gift. I call it, like Simone Biles says, I got the superpower, and some people don't have the superpower for little kids. All right, Christy.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has your first year perspective shaped the way you support coaches, club directors, athletes, and families across the country?
Yeah, I also love this question because being in that membership role for so long since I started at JVA, I feel like I was able to have so much one-on-one time with club directors, And that was one of the things rolling into this first year that I really did not want to lose sight of,
Uh-huh.
because that personal connection is just so important. And yes, we're growing, but I feel like clubs love being a part of our network because we do that personal touch. And even though we are getting bigger, we still want to feel like, we're giving you that mom and pop experience. So I try to balance out my week sometimes and making sure that I'm still having that club director interaction. And when I'm at events, making sure that I'm still, going up to as many as I possibly can, because it's like what really filled my bucket with working, that happy, relationship bucket when I,
Uh-huh.
throughout the last couple of years and whatnot. But I feel like that has kind of just, I don't know, it just kept reminding myself to just keep staying curious and also like responding with intention. But I don't know, I just really think that the more we hear and learn and understand from the people we serve, that the more committed we are to building the volleyball community. So I just keep trying to remind myself that. And yeah, this first year has, I don't know, it's just humbled me a little bit more.
You just have to remember there's not 48 hours in the day, there's only 24.
I
Right?
know, I wish there
Okay.
was a couple more hours.
Okay, Christy.
Um, so, what have you learned during this first year about the evolving needs of JBA member clubs, and how will that influence upcoming initiatives?
Mhm. Yeah, so kind of like what I mentioned before, like there's always that need for more support and that operational support. I feel like there is some, what we've noticed is like a little bit more turnover happening and some old guard passing down the torch to fresh faces. And that they are, they may have put a plan in place for the new club directors that might be taking over their clubs, or some new directors just starting new clubs in general. But the new person will still need their own perspective on things, and they're still seeking help. But because running clubs is complex, it's hard, right? There's the financial
Uh-huh.
management, parents, culture, all the things, right? But just that, I just think that it's constantly evolving, and those types of things are important just to make sure that we're filling those needs for those new directors while also still supplying the needs for people that have been in place for so long. Like they still need resources, right? Because
Mhm.
there's things always coming up, kind of like the AI that we talked about, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and if you look at AI as it's barely, touching, when you look at the fact is AI will be that guy who's in the war in that robot
Right.
Optimus with Elon Musk and whatever. So let me ask you this: as you move into year two, what new and expanded programs are you most excited about for 2026 and beyond?
So, we've got a couple things on the front here. Well, like on the membership side of things, we're really trying to understand our membership a little more
Uh-huh.
and trying to, I don't want to say like fully segment them, but being able to serve each member like I mean, spread out a little bit more, but if there's an area of the country that needs specific resources, we want to be
Ah,
able to market to them properly, right? So, our member development girl, Taylor, she is reaching out to more people. Like, what are you needing? And we're trying to survey more and learn that so we can, push those different educational resources out a little bit better. So we're really trying to like hone in on that membership a little bit better. But also, we are trying to really develop our JVA next. And that kind of goes back into, those younger club directors that are just starting out, or
yeah.
they kind of that intentional safe, or like not safe space, but intentional space to work with other coaches and directors to
Mhm,
have that conversation that are more like them.
mhm,
And we're going to connect them with some mentors as well within our mentor program and just expand on our mentor program a little bit.
mhm.
Um, in our event space, something we're really excited about at our
Oh
world.
boy, here we go.
I know. I'm not going to say we're starting a new event because I mean, that might be in a year or two,
Right.
but at our World Challenge this year, so we've the last couple of years we've done our 18U championship
Yeah.
there as well. This year, what's new is that we are partnering with AAU for the 18U championship, and
Ah,
and it's going to be awesome. But we are really elevating that experience and also the fan experience, but also for the 18-year-olds, we are doing this amazing gala for them the night before. And
Ah,
it's called this All Eyes on Me gala. So I don't know, like, the women's, like the WNBA
oh
or
yeah, the
the
fashion
NBA,
show.
like when they're walking in,
Yes, the
wearing their
fashion show
showcase, like
side.
their outfits and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like their red carpet moment coming in, and it's gonna be really neat, really, really cool. So we're excited about that. We launched our Better the Ball campaign, which
Yes.
you saw that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see there's a video on our website. Obviously, Align's going to be bigger and better this year, and
Right.
that's on May 12th and 13th in Dallas. We started our JVA World Tour. If you saw those, we're kind of moving around the country, and that's just really an intro to all things JVA, kind of starting it from the beginning. And you get to see and meet all of the faces of JVA, of the departments,
Uh-huh.
just because people are emailing all the time. So we want to just put faces to those emails and
Uh-huh.
just, it's just a deep dive into our website and to all of the things that we offer. And then you're also going to end up seeing the JVA Directors Learning Lab coming soon. And Bree, I don't know if Bree's going to kill me for talking about it or not yet, but she is creating this Directors Learning Lab, similar to what we were talking about before. And it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like starting a club for dummies,
Yeah.
to put it nicely. But it's going to be really cool guide. And yeah, but in October, it's also our 20th anniversary. So expect to see
Un
some cool things then.
Unbelievable what
Isn't that
you've done
crazy?
in absolutely 20 years. I mean, I get more excited about all the different things that you're doing. Bree said to me, Ruth, how do you do all the things you do? And I said, no, I'm looking at all the things you do. But I said, you've got a staff, and I've got me, myself, and I, and Christy. All right, Christy, you better ask this last
Okay.
question.
All right, last question. So, again, just thinking about this whole first year, what impact do you hope your leadership will ultimately have on the JVA and the broader junior volleyball community?
Yeah. So, you know, I hope that my leadership will have is rooted in kind of who I am to my core. I feel like I'm kind of gritty. I'm pretty honest and sometimes to a fault, but I'm pretty like passionate and driven person. But I hope those qualities will translate over into a style that makes people feel supported and empowered and inspired. So, and we want people to feel the difference in how JVA listens and how that we want to empower them, right? So, and how we communicate and how we intentionally build resources and opportunities that truly serve coaches and directors and athletes and families. So, I want clubs to feel more connected, even more regionally and nationally, and
Huh?
but it's funny because I also want to be able to carry, like I said before, carry on Jenny's legacy that
Yeah.
she has built JVA up, and I kind of see it as like we've got this huge piece of property, and she's put this foundation in and has
Uh-huh.
built this house, and now we're adding on all these really cool additions and pieces on the property. But I just want our membership and club members to know that if there's something that needs to get done, like I'm here and I'm going to keep grinding on it until it
Yeah.
happens.
Well,
So,
you know what? Eunice
yeah.
Kennedy Shriver's one of her models for Special Olympic athletes. I worked with them for 18 years. She said, we need to make sure that we have an opportunity for one athlete at a time. And if you are providing opportunities for one coach at a time to be educated, you are doing, because it's so easy to get the numbers. Everybody always talks about the numbers, the membership. But if
Mhm.
you're doing the things that are helpful, like Christy said, some of the things that she now has learned from being a JVA member, those and people don't spend time talking about how these are so important to everybody.
Right.
So I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. But I've got last few questions. What is the one volleyball drill or tradition from your playing or coaching days that still makes you smile?
Oh my God. Smile
Yes.
or like
I
just like, well, smile
Cringe.
now. I would say the infamous Dave Shundell Pepper series.
okay. Okay.
Even though I know that it is not the same now as it was back then, because
Yes.
and Dave would even agree with me that he's gotten a lot softer.
Right.
But
Okay.
he was tough back then. But I would say our Pepper series, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it would make me smile, but
Okay.
now I'll smile about it.
Okay. All right. Next one. What's the one thing people would be surprised to learn about you outside of volleyball?
Oh my gosh. That I am, well, I don't know if that would be surprising, but oh gosh, that's a great question. Well, maybe that I have three little kids and I
Okay.
am, doing all of this with my three little kids and we're constantly going and running with all of their sports and whatnot. And yeah,
And
I'm
they're
just
four,
a
six, and
big,
eight.
they're 4, 6, and 8.
And they're
Yeah.
all girls?
Boy, girl, boy.
Boy, girl, boy.
Yeah, boy,
Wow.
girl, boy.
We.
Yeah, I'm a big family person. Yeah, I got all of my family in the same neighborhood too. My
All right.
parents, my sister and her kids. Oh yeah.
Last question. If you had to describe your first year as executive director using only 3 words, what would they be and why?
Oh, I can't cuss, can I? No.
No, you can not on this show.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I would say humbling.
Okay.
And I would say, oh gosh, um, I would say, oh God, a little exhausting.
Okay. Okay. That's a
I'm
good
being
one.
honest. I'm being
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
And I I would probably say, supportive.
Okay.
I'd say supportive.
So
And
you,
why? Humbling because I've learned so I mean I've taken on and learned so much and it's really brought me like grounded me a lot
yeah.
and exhausting just because it has been a lot but in a good way and
Okay.
I feel like it's good to be exhausted in a position like this sometimes especially in that first year and supportive just because the people around me from coworkers, family, friends, board members, everybody has just been incredible.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
lucky.
A special thank you to our co-host Christy and to the 45 Go Kids Youth Sports Skills Trainers who continue to make a lasting impact in the world of youth sports. Your dedication and passion are helping shape the next generation one athlete at a time. Registration will begin in January for our 2026 Go Kids Youth Sports Skills Certification course, July 18th and 19th, right here in Dallas, Texas, in conjunction with the Art Coaching Clinic. If you know someone teaching kids ages 10 and under, send them our way 24/7 virtual gym at www.rnnsportsgym.com. They can explore a wide range of educational videos and by becoming members gain access to our exclusive RNN Sports Gym private Facebook. Remember to like and share our public pages on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Friends, teachers, kids, and youth coaches. Our innovative approach to teaching kids 10 and under is something that you want to miss. Don't miss our monthly chat box Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, available pre-recorded on our private RNN Sports Gym. We look forward to having you join us on January 7th in our In the Know series featuring another guest. Again, Lisa, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. But before we close, how can viewers learn more about JVA and where do they go and the JVA Align event?
Yeah, go to jvavolleyball.org
Okay?
and there's also an Align page on there and you can subscribe to our emails and you'll also get all the Align information there. But and if you want to reach out to me as well, or even just hit the contact us on our
Okay?
website and that'll go right to Taylor Jacobowski, who is our member services girl, and she can get you all that information. Or all of our on our contact page. All of our emails are there as well.
That's fantastic. But seriously, it's been a pleasure in how you've kind of worked through. I call it climbing the success ladder. I just told that to somebody the other day, and I said, just remember this, that you see the same people going up the ladder as you do going down the ladder. So make sure you want to make the impression of being honest with everybody and doing it for the right reason, for the right group, and not just for one individual group. And I think you guys have opened up opportunities for no matter who you are, there's always a place. And I'm excited to have you in Dallas because of course we think we do everything better in
Hmm.
Texas than anywhere else. But
I
thank you,
love that,
Lisa.
Ruth.
And
Thank you.
Christy, thanks for being co-host again.
Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate you guys having me.